Mbote, 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 mbote. Nusiemi, Salembe, Bena Kongo, Bena Nzambi. How you all doing today? It's a beautiful day, at least here where I am. The sun is shining, there's no rain. Greetings to everyone, to the scattered people of the Most High in the Eastern and Western Hemisphere. We pray that the spirit of the great Creator is with all of you, wherever you are in this world. Kembo, 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 Natatanzambi, Yamazulu. Kinfumu Kiakuyisa, may his kingdom come and his will be done. Invite some people to join us. Let them know that we are live here on YouTube. And in this video, in this live broadcast, we're gonna decoding the seal of Hezekiah, which was found in the so-called state of Israel, right, in the land of Israel. So we're gonna look at it. We're gonna decode it. Another news is that the Pope died. So the Christian world is mourning the Pope. He died at age 88. So we're gonna be looking into that one shortly, just short. Pope Francis dies age 88. The Christian world is mourning the Pope. As the passing away of the Pope, does it have a spiritual significance, dying at age 88? When you decode, when you do some numerology, looking at 88, which stands actually for new beginning, right? The number 8 also is the number of rebirth. So what will happen now? Will we see a shift in the spirit as the Pope has passed? Will there come a last Pope, as many suggest? Or is this just a event in history, in time, as so many? We will have to see. But it's he died. He died. When was it actually? Today? The Vatican confirmed the pontiff died at 7:35 local time on Monday. Yes, that's today. He was recently discharged from hospital after weeks of treatment for an infection. The Pope has died. Man. All right. So that's the Pope in Italy, from the Vatican, the city of the serpent. He passed. He died. He joined his wicked ancestors in the beyond.
The feeling here, as you said, is one of palpable shock. We're in St. Peter's Square, and just 24 hours ago, Pope Francis was there delivering his yearly address for Easter. He was frail, he only said a few words, but there was hope that his health was getting better. And, I've been here for the past hour, and more people are pouring into the square.
Yeah, well, we're not really concerned. He died. Okay, it's a sad thing for those who are his followers and who, love the Christian life, Catholic Church. So for his supporters, it's a sad day. For us, we look at the spiritual significance of things, world events. My message not about the Pope, so it's just a side note. The Pope died today, so something will shift in the atmosphere, right? Because the Pope is actually the great spirit who rules Europe. Okay, the Pope represents a spirit in the spiritual realm ruling Europe from the Vatican. So his passing is very significant in the spiritual realm and world events, things that will come and happen. All right, but in this live broadcast, we will be looking into the seal of Hezekiah. Okay, King Hezekiah in the Bible. The royal seal of Hezekiah comes to light. So we're going to look at this archaeological found. We're going to do some examination. We're going to decode the imagery, yes, and the written text on this seal. Let me enlarge it a little bit. Okay, so this is an article from March 4, 2025. Okay, the royal seal of King Hezekiah in the Bible was found in an archaeological excavation. The stamped clay seal, also known as a bulla, was discovered in the Ophel excavation led by Dr. Eilat Mazar at the foot of the southern wall of the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. The discovery was announced in a press release by the Hebrew University of Jerusalem's Institute of Archaeology, under whose auspices the excavations were conducted. The bulla, which measured just over a centimeter in diameter, bears a seal impression depicting a two-winged sun disk. Let's pay attention to that. A two-winged sun disk flanked by an ankh symbol. Okay, flanked by an ankh symbol and containing a Hebrew inscription that reads, belonging to Hezekiah, son of Ahaz, king of Judah. The bulla was discovered along with 33 other stamped bullae during wet shifting of dirt from a refuse dump located next to a 10th century BCE royal building in the Ophel. In the ancient Near East, clay bullae were used to secure the strings tied around rolled up documents. The bullae were made by pressing a seal onto a wet lump of clay. The stamped bulla served as both a signature and as a means of ensuring the authenticity of the documents. Yeah, so pay attention. These clay seals, what they call bulla, were made by pressing a seal onto a wet lump of clay. The stamped bulla served as both a signature and as a means of ensuring the authenticity of the document. So we're dealing with something that is authentic, right? Because it was used by the kings. Now, pay attention. We can go through all of it, but it's, let's see. Okay, now let's go through it. Who was King Hezekiah in the Bible? Yes, King Hezekiah in the Bible, son and successor of Ahaz, and the 13th king of Judah, reigning from 715 to 686 BCE, was known for his religious reforms and attempts to gain independence from the Assyrians. According to 2 Chronicles 29 up to 32, Hezekiah began his reform in the first year of his reign, motivated by the belief that the ancient religion was not being practiced scrupulously. He ordered that the temple of Yahweh be repaired and cleansed of Nida, impurity, after celebrating a truly national Passover for the first time since the reign of Solomon. Hezekiah's officials went into the countryside and dismantle the local shrines or high places, Bamot, along with the altars, standing stones, Masebot, and sacred poles. The account of Hezekiah's reform activities in 2 King 18 1 to 8 is much briefer, although he is credited with removing the high places. The major reform is credited to Josiah. Hezekiah attempts to save Jerusalem from a Syrian king. Okay, no, it's not necessary. Yeah, so according to the Bible, Hezekiah was a righteous king. Okay, one who feared the Most High and one who really put in great work to restore the worship of Yahweh, right? And even to repair the temple. So he was a righteous king, one who loved the Most High, one who tried to, restore religious order. All right. So, Mbote Bandeko, greetings to everyone. I'm Nabi Kepa. Welcome to this live broadcast. Let people know that we are live, that we are here, and we will be decoding the seal of Hezekiah. We will look into the imagery on the seal, the written text, and decode it in line with the Bantu truth. Yes, and we will reveal that the seal of Hezekiah is Bantu. All right? Okay? And that will further prove, it will further prove that the Israelites the Bible speak of, historically, that we are the Bantu people. Okay? The Bantu people are the Israelite the Bible speaks of. Okay? So let some people know. Now be careful is here, we're live. And we're about to decode. If you are excited, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, like, and share. Now, before we go there, I am inviting you all to join me to Angola. I'm going to Angola July 14 to 23, 10 days trip, 9 nights. So join me. Okay, if you've never been to Angola before, you are, curious, and you want to meet up with me face to face, you want to see the work we're doing in Angola. We're building a diaspora community over there. I'm inviting you to join me. Yeah? Come with me to Angola. We'll be having a great time. We will explore Angola. Yeah, you will have opportunity to see our investments and what we're doing. And of course, we will have a great time. We will relax, eat, drink, laugh, have fun, etc. Yeah, so join me. You are invited July 14 this year. We're also building, like I said, a diaspora community with my organization, Angola Investment Group. If you are curious in what we're doing in Angola with the community, send me email at Angola, no, at info@angolainvestmentgroup.com. Yes, I repeat, info @angolainvestmentgroup.com. Send me email if you're curious in what we're actually doing in Angola. Yes, we are building a diaspora community, the very first diaspora community in Angola. We believe Africa is the future, and Africa is the motherland, the land of milk and honey, the only holy land there is. Yes, people can have their opinions. You can follow the narrative of the so-called Ishish people or the European Christian doctrines, but we are confident and we know that Africa is the Holy Land, the motherland, the land of the Most High, the land of the Creator. Okay, so it's time for us to return. It's the age of the Exodus. It's the age to return, as the Bible says, come out of Babylon, flee, and return to rebuild. So we are returning to rebuild, and we cannot do it by ourselves. We need to build communities. The only way to succeed is to build communities. You can go back as an individual, but you will face many challenges. But if we go back and form communities, it will help us and it will give us more confidence, because we're not doing things by ourselves. We're not trying to survive by ourselves, but you have a community around you. And when you are building as a community, the chances to succeed are much greater. Yes, therefore, that's the reason we are building the diaspora community in Angola. We have land for about 260 homes, but we are buying more land and we need your help. Okay, we need your help. Alone, I can do just so much, but when we come together, there's much that we can do. That's Angola Investment Group. And so I'm inviting you to join me in Geta. And so don't forget to like and subscribe, of course, if you love the channel, if you love the teaching, if you love what we do here. By subscribing, you support the channel. Okay. If you want to have more teachings, I have more teachings on Patreon, teachings which are not here on YouTube. So you can also visit my Patreon. Link is in the description box. If you go there, you will have access to more teachings, and some of those teachings are coming straight from my BSI classes, Bantu School of Israelites, right? Yiseka'yah, which I host. And there are some amazing teaching over there. Okay? Teachings which are not really here on YouTube. All right. So we are dealing with the seal of Hezekiah. I have given you a, how do you call that? A foundation. For those who came in late, I provided a foundation. On this foundation, we have seen that the seal of Hezekiah is an archaeological founding, right? And it's a true seal recognized from Hezekiah. It's actually his signature, which was stamped on legal documentations. Yes, the stamped bulla served as both a signature and as a means of ensuring the authenticity of the documents. And this article is from March 4, 2025. So it's from this year. The seal is of Hezekiah. Okay. Now, when we look at the seal, when we zoom in at the seal, there's something, you know, I haven't really seen Israelites talking about stuff that we talk about here on this channel. Okay, because many of the stuff that we talk about here on this channel, some Israelites will say it's abominable, it goes against the laws, it goes against whatever. But what we do here, we reveal the connections, right? The true connections and mysteries which are in the Bible, okay, coded in the Bible, even here on the seal of Hezekiah. So Hezekiah, we need to first establish the character of Hezekiah. And the Bible tells us that Hezekiah was a righteous king. He did what was right in the eyes of the Most High. 2 King 18. Okay? He did what was right in the eyes of the Most High. What does it mean? It means that he was a righteous king. He lived according to the statutes and commandments. Okay? He upheld the feast days and tried to destroy all the high places where people were worshiping other deities. Right? So his biblical character is sound. His biblical character. So he was a righteous man, God fearing, law abiding, right? He lived according to the commandments and statutes. He tried to destroy the sacred places of foreign gods where people were worshiping other deities. And he was a son of David. A son of David. Okay? Kembo. That's King Hezekiah. So we're not talking about some wicked man, or godless man, or no, we're talking about a righteous man here. Okay, now that we have established that, when we look at the seal, now let us go back for a moment to this article. Okay, look what they say here in this alinea. The bulla, which measured just over a centimeter in diameter, bears a seal impression depicting a two-winged sun disk. Question mark. So not if. So according to the Bible, right, in 2 King verse 18. So let's actually go there. Let's go to 2 King. 2 Kings 18. Let's read about him. Okay. Now it came to pass in the 3rd year of Hoshea, son of Elah, king of Israel, that Hezekiah, the son of Ahaz, king of Judah, began to reign. 25 years old was he when he began to reign, and he reigned 29 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name also was Abi, the daughter of Zechariah. Hezekiah. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, of Yakongo, according to all that David his father did. Okay, so he walked in the character and spirit of his ancestor David. You understand? Father there is ancestor. David died a long time ago. And so father there is ancestor. So Coco or Coco Kaka. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord. So he was a righteous man. Okay. He walked in accordance to the spirit of his ancestor David. And it continues. He removed the high places and brake the images and cut down the groves and broke in pieces the brazen serpent that Moses had made. For unto those days the children of Israel did burn incense to it. And he called it Nehustan, the brazen serpent of Moses. Nehustan. The twist snake. He trusted in the Lord God of Israel, so that after him was none like him among all the kings of Judah, nor any that were before him. Now look at this statement of grandeur, okay? Really showcasing his godly character. Let me say that this statement really puts an emphasis on his godly character and how much he was loved by the Most High. He trusted in the Lord God of Israel, right? Yakongo elimo ya isolele, so that after him was none like him among all the kings. So he was great, great man. Look, for he clave to the Lord and departed not from him, departed not from following him, but kept his commandments, which the Lord commanded Moses. And this is the testimony of his character, as we can see. So, my question then is, brothers and sisters, okay, why on this seal of Hezekiah, why is it that we find the two-winged sun disk? Somebody tell me, because we have clearly seen that Hezekiah was a righteous man. He followed after Yah. He lived in accordance to the commandments of Moses, right? He was a righteous man. But how come on his seal of his signature, first of all, we see a two-winged sun disk and flanked by the Ankh symbol and containing a Hebrew inscription that reads belonging to Hezekiah. Okay? That's something, eh? So that's the same thing we see here. So let's zoom in a little bit. So here is what we see. The solar disk with wings. We see the solar disk with wings. And we see the Ankh symbol. Now, I did a video where we talked about the Ankh, right? And I explained the Ankh's connection with the Bantu, because the Ankh, what they say Ankh, among Bantu we can call it Ango or Anko. Amongst my brother sent me a message, by the way. Let me see if I can find it very quickly. It's very interesting. So a brother sent me a message, a text. He reacted to the video, this video on your screen, and he said, "Thank you for your great work you're doing. However, the name Anoki is actually Anokie, which is Okomfo, priest. Anokie was the name of our last prophet of the Ashanti kingdom. He's the one who conjured or carved the golden stool, the royal throne of the Ashanti kingdom from the heavens. Now, in the modern day Ghana, this priest had one of the names of our creator, which is Anokie in the Twi language. Yeah, Anokie in the Twi language. What else does he say? Yeah, Kwa. He also says that Kwa in Twi, the word Kwa is life. Interesting, it's interesting. And I do believe that we need to share more with each other as African people. Because one, we understand that we have been lied to by Europeans. And two, as we are discovering in this age of African Renaissance, right? In this age of spiritual awakening, which is globally. It's not just in the West, but also in Africa. We must put all the knowledges together. All the knowledge together, because I'm not here to say one African people is greater than the other African people. I've learned from Simon Kimbangu, you know, that the Congo are central, right? The Congo are central. I've also learned from my teacher, Professor um, Luka, who unfortunately has passed away. And I was very sad, about it. But it was his wish to keep his passing amongst the family, so I didn't talk much about it. But my professor, my beloved Professor Dr. Luka, he passed. Passed. Has he has gone to join the ancestors in the beyond. But he taught me something. He said the Congo people are the beginning. Yes. It's the same thing Mfumu Kimbangu said. The Congo people are the beginning, they're the light. But when you turn on a light, what happens? The light illuminates the whole house, right? So when Congo as the light start to illuminate, to spread light, that light will spread all over Africa. So that light is the knowledge of the Creator, the knowledge of the Most High. It's spread through all Africa. So God, the authentic God, is African, and the teachings of that authentic God, the creator of heaven and earth, yes, what the European have called the monotheistic faith, was always in Africa. It was always there. Okay? So we don't have to compete saying, oh no, we are the true Jews. No, the Lemba are the true Jews. No, the Igbo are the true Jews. That is foolish. The light comes from Congo. And from Congo, it spreads all over Africa. The knowledge of God spreads to all the children of Africa. So you don't have to be a Bantu to have knowledge of the Supreme Being. You understand? Does it make sense? Mm. But in this video, it's on YouTube. You can look it up. We explain Anoki. Yes, and we decode the Anoki in the Bible. Yeah, in the Bible, the word Anoki is found. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. That I am, yes, that I am is Anoki Yahweh Eloheka. If you read it in the Hebrew, yes, it's Anoki Yahweh Eloheka. I am Ngai is the Bantu for the Most High. So the Ankh is a Bantu Israelite symbol. It's not pagan. They lie to you. The symbol, what they call Ankh, is an African cross of life. Okay? It's an African symbol of life. It's not pagan. It's not demonic. It's actually in the Bible as Anoki, in the form of Anoki. You understand? And this word Anoki is used in the Masoretic text for the Most High. Let me say that again. This verb, this word Anoki, in the Masoretic text It is used for the Most High. It is a name for the Most High, which means in Bantu, I am. Anoki, I am, right? Ngai, which means life. Ngai is also among the Gikuyu, the creator. Anoki. See, and that's the symbol of life, because the creator is life. You understand? So we're not dealing with something pagan. That's why I gave you a good foundation of the character of the owner of this seal, so that you have a good understanding with whom we're dealing. Hezekiah, it's the seal of Hezekiah. The Bible tells us that he was a righteous man, yes, who lived according to the laws of Moses. Now, the solar disk is a Kemetic iconography representing Ra. Ra means also sun, Aton, Amon, and the Ankh, the symbol of the Nile Valley kings. The symbol of the Nile Valley kings and the symbol of God, right? As is the symbol of life, eternal life, the symbol of leadership. That's the Ankh. And we see the solar disk with 3 sticks. So we see the solar disk, we see the wings, and 3 sticks. That's all symbolism. What does it represent? Now, the sun, when we read the book of Malachi 4, verse 2, it says, "The Son of Righteousness shall arise with healing in his wings." So we see the Son of Righteousness, okay, and we see the wings, the 3 sticks. In Congo symbology, the 3 sticks there represent Makuku Matatu, in other words, the Congo Trinity. Yes, Nzamba Pungutulendo, Bumbaloa, and Pinanza. That's the Trinity. Not the triune God, no. A Trinity, a hierarchical order. Yes, Bumba Nzambi Pungutulendo, the supreme being. Bumba Loa, the mother creator, and Pinanza, the child who is the Logos and the governor of the universe. That's what it represents. So we see the solar disk and the wings and the 3 sticks and the Ankh. Those are all symbolic imagery which tells us a story. This guy, King Hezekiah, he was a son of light. Okay, he was a son of the light. Wings also represents heaven. The Ankh is the symbol of leadership. Yes, symbol of life. As a king, he was a child of heaven and a leader who is to bring life to his people. That's how we can interpret it. Yes. As a king, he's a son of heaven. Yes. Who is to bring life. That's the Ankh. As a leader, you bring life to your people. So we see in the book of Malachi 4 verse 2, the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings. So that's symbolism is there in the Bible. It is present in the Bible. Okay? Nothing demonic. Now, when you look into the written text, right? Here we have it in modern Hebrew. Here we have it in Paleo Hebrew. Before I continue, beloved people, make your presence known in the chat. Let me know if you love what we're discussing here. If you want to come on, let me know. I can share the link. Okay, we can have a conversation. Yeah, but make your presence known in the chat. Give this presentation a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm and etc. Okay, Matondo. Now look at this, people. Once again, on this channel, we discuss things with many Israelites don't. And it's not a shame, you know, because every teacher has his own domain of expertise and of interest. In this awakening, we have different assignments, okay? But what I see people fail to do is to have an open mind. Too many teachers, Israelite teachers, they have this attitude: if you don't believe what I share, if you don't take my knowledge, you're not there, right? So that's something that we need to change as a people, as leaders, and as teachers. No, I realize that I don't know everything. I don't know everything. But what the Most High reveals to me and what I understand, that's what I can teach and share. Yes, we cannot have that attitude from, hey, I know everything, and if your teaching are not aligning what I'm saying, you are wrong, I am right. And no, let's reason together. Let put the whole puzzle together. Then Yesaya said, the Spirit of truth, when he comes, he will reveal you the full truth. How does he reveal the full truth? Does he give the full truth to one man or one woman? No. He divided amongst his body. So the body must come together and put all the puzzles together to form one whole. And that's what we should focus on, right? Yes. So what I teach are the mysteries, the secrets hidden in the Bible code and even on the seal of Hezekiah. Now, when you look at this seal, notice that the name of Hezekiah is starting with the L, with the consonant L, which is Lameh or Lameh. This will give us the Masoretic reading of Le Hezekiah, Akasmelech Yehuda. The consonant chet is pronounced as K. You can, from Strong's H 2396. So here, this portion here we're talking about, this portion here on the seal, you can see it here on the seal. Can you see my cursor, the mouse? So when you focus your attention on the seal, right, above the solar disk, the winged solar disk, you see writings in Paleo Hebrew. Now, that is this writing over here on the right corner, starting with Lamech, and then it gives us his Kiyahu, yes, Akaz, or his Kiyahu, son of Akaz. And at the bottom, when you focus your attention on the seal, here at the bottom of the winged solar disk, it's read Melech, yes, Melech or Meleki, in Kikongo, Meleki Yehuda, yes, Meleki Yehuda. So it actually says Hezekiah, son of Ahaz, king of Yehuda, and king of Yaoundé. And as you can see, it's really a very small seal. Yeah. Now, in the Kikongo, the recipient of a thing, possession, the complement of the noun can be introduced by the phoneme K or L, in addition to the phoneme A. For example, in Kikongo, we have ku, K, right? K, kua, or kue bene, to you. And in Kifili, Bantu, we have Muame Linzambi, the angel of God in Christian theology, and To Le Nku, which means offspring of. Yes, offspring of. So the consonant L is sometimes vocalized E or A, Li, Le. Let's compare this with the text of the royal seal. Example. We will compare. For example, here we have in Kikongo Li Nzambi, which means of Nzambi. Le Nku, of Nku. Therefore, if we compare it with the seal, the writings on the seal right there, we will have Le Hezekiah. Yeah, Le Hezekiah, which means of Hezekiah. You understand? The consonant chet, which is KH, can be read as K. The snake will become Nyoka in Kikongo and Nagas in Mesoteric Hebrew. A circle or a disc is called Nkongo. Kongo also means a circle in Kikongo, and Kog, circle in Mesoteric Hebrew, which is written as Kog. Kog is nothing less than the Mesoteric reading from the name Kongo. Yes, also meaning circle. That's crazy. Let me show you that actually. Here, okay. Now let me open up another one. Let me show you that. So when we go to the book of Isaiah, Isaiah 40:22, I think. Yes, Isaiah 40. Okay. It is he that seated upon the circle of the earth. Okay. Now, who is he that seated? It's the Most High, talking about the Most High. It says, the Most High, he seated upon the circle of the earth. Now, the circle here is Kog. As you can see, the circle is Kog. Kog, which means circle, circle, compass. Yes, Kog. Now, that Kog, that Kog is nothing less than the Mesoteric reading of the name Congo. So we see the name Congo is in the Bible code. Okay, it's in the Bible code. People be hating on Congo. Oh, you guys with Congo, get away with your Congo. Congo is the center. The Bible tells us so. Okay, the Bible tells us so. Let's circle, compass, right? That's the circle. It's the center. And scripture tells you the Most High, He is seated. He is seated. To sit is to reign. Yeah, to sit means to reign in Bantu culture. Bantu culture, the king seated. It means he is reigning. Yeah, to sit is to reign. And the Most High seated, he reigns from the circle of the earth. That circle is Kog, which is Congo. You understand? So Congo is the center of the earth. It's the center of this universe upon which the Lord Yah Congo is seated. Congo, Ngo, Congo, seated. Amazing, eh? And so we are not making things up. We're just showing you the secret in the Masoteric text, right? In the Bible code, bringing it to light. Ingeta. Okay. So, you know, it's funny. This knowledge should go viral, right? It should go viral. All Bantu people, Israelite, need to know this. Why isn't it going viral? Because people don't care. People don't care. Okay, people are too busy pushing their own doctrines. Here, we don't push doctrines. We just reveal mysteries. We reveal secrets. We reveal the knowledge of the Most High. Yes, the mysteries of our Bantu fathers, ancestors, coded in the Bible. Okay, historically, scripturally, and traditionally. That's what we reveal. So we are not focusing on pushing a doctrine. No, we just spread light. That's it. The consonants of Hezekiah is comprised of KZK plus the divine name Yah. Yeah, the mesoteric root KZK, Kazakh, means to be strong, grow strong, prevail, fortify, etc. The name means Yah strengthens or Yah has strengthened. Now, there is a verbal root in Kikongo that describes a force demanding action. Kaza. Yes, kaza. That's what you see here. The root being KZ or Chet and Zayin. Yes, in the Hebrew, which gives us kaza. Now, in the Kikongo, that demanding action, force, kaza, means to bite with full teeth, or pull out with the teeth. And in this root, we find the Kemetic ka. Okay, so we find the Kemetic ka. The Kemetic ka symbolizes what? Life. Is the same thing as the anko, right? The anko in Bantu, which they call Ankh. The anko or ango, which is life, the life of the Most High, the life of the Son, or the life that comes from the Son, S-U-N. Okay, it's the same thing. So we see the Kemetic root there for life, which is Ka. This is the life force. Many Kikongo verbs describing an action that requires strength energy are built with this phoneme ka. Yes, like for example, dumuka, which means to jump, right? Yeah? Dumuka, which means to jump. So the ka in this verb denotes the action which requires strength and force. So it is dumu ka, to jump, and fumbu ka, to wake up. Yeah, in Lingala, we will say lamu ka, which also means to wake up. Here, ngangu ka, to rise, to rise. Nanguka or lamuka in Kikongo, in Lingala. It's crazy, eh? Now, in biblical Hebrew, the life force is also called ka, and we can see this in 2 Samuel 12, verse 5. It says, as the Lord liveth. Yes, as the Lord liveth. When you look into the biblical Strongs, okay, in the Bible code, it is Yahweh Hai. Let's go there. 2 Samuel 12. Here, okay. Let me go back. Okay, right here, verse 5. Well, let's do it. And David's anger was greatly kindled against the man, and he said to Nathan, as the Lord liveth. Right? There you have it. As the Lord, Yakongo, liveth. That's what we see here. As the Lord, Yakongo, liveth. Now, that life, liveth, to live, in Hebrew. In Yiddish Hebrew, they pronounce it as Hai or Kai. Hai, 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 with the G sound. Hai. Yes, they pronounce it with the G sound. Hai. And let's see if I'm right. Uh, like this. No, that's not it. Here.
Strong's H2416. Hi. Hi. Strong's H2416. Hi. Hi.
So they pronounce it as Hai, 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 Hai. Now, once again, chat, right? Because this is chat and yud, right? Hai is written with a consonant chat and yud. Now, chat has the sound of KH. That KH sound, the Yiddish pronounce it as a G sound. Yeah. So we will say ka, they will say ha. We say ka, they say ha, ha. We say ka. But listen to the difference of the sound, right? Ka, ka, ka. There is a force when you vocalize um, the word of life, right? Ka, ka. There's a force, ka. But when you say ha, ha, it's like, are you choking? Are you imitating a cray? Ha, ha. No, it's ka, ka. There's a force, ka. When you pronounce it as the Bantu do, so chet has a KH sound. Thus, high is kai, kai or ka, yes, or ka, which means life force, life force. From the root chaya, chaya is kaya, kaya, to be alive, to revive, kaya, not chaya, chaya. So some people will say the name of the Most High is Ahaya, Ahaya. Yes, with due respect, that's not the case. Okay, the name of the Most High is not Ahaya. Ahaya is not the name of the Most High. Haya means the life of Yah. Yes, because it is written as Chet Yut Hey. Okay, Ka Yah. Ka, which is the life force. Yah, which is the hand of the Most High, or shortened for Yah Congo, which means the creator. So Kaya is the life of the creator. So the life of the creator is in everything. The life force, yes, of the creator is in the entire nature. Everything consists with a particle of life, right? The life particle of the Most High, if I can call it like that, is in everything in nature. Okay, so that's the Ka, the life force, or Kaya, to be alive, or to be revived, to possess life, that is seen in Yahweh Ka, as we see here. Yahweh Ka, translated in the King James Bible as the Lord liveth. As the Lord liveth. Yahweh Ka. Yahweh Ka. Amazing, amazing. That's it, people. There's much more to share. If you want to receive more of this, I will invite you to join my Patreon, because I will continue this teaching actually in my Samba classes, which I host every other Saturday. If you're interested, you can start by becoming a patron on my Patreon page. Receive the mysteries and the great teachings which are there, and most of this stuff you can find it also on Patreon. Yeah, like the breakdown, deep breakdown of the Ankh, yes, and many other things. Let's see, the Yahweh, the hidden truth, the name of the Most High hidden in the Tetragrammaton, Yud He Vav He. Very interesting teaching. Yes, that we are the children of light. Okay, very interesting teaching. Yeah, so let me know what you guys think. If you guys have any questions, of course, you can share them here in the chat. If you guys want me to drop the link, I can drop the link so that we can have a small talk conversation about what we shared. You can give us your input, your knowledge, whatever. Okay. Now we are building the diaspora community in Angola. We have land in our possession, which we have but it's our land. It's the land of my organization, Angola Investment Group. It's about 32 acres. Yes, 32 acres, and we want to increase it. We want to have at least 100 hectares, which will be 240 acres at least. But I need your help. Cannot do it alone. But if you're interested in joining our community, you're interested in joining what we're doing, building the diaspora community in Angola, let me know. Send me an email. Yes, email me at, let me put it in the chat, info at Angola Investment Group.com. Okay, you can send me an email. Let me know if you're interested, if you want to know more, and we can have a conversation. Okay, we are building the very first diaspora community, and I'm inviting you to be a part of it. I'm inviting you to join me and the others who have already joined. Now we are going to Angola when July this year, coming July 14 up to 23. Okay, it's 9 days, 10 days, 9 nights. So you can join me with this trip. You can meet me face to face. I'm a very likable person. I don't bite. I'm hospitable. I will take good care of you. If you're interested, you can join me. We will explore Angola together. We will also show you the investment opportunities which are there present in Angola, and of course the land that we have, the land for the community, our private lands. We will have conversation with some business people who are there in Angola, and of course we will have to have a great time, right? We will relax, drink, eat, talk, have fun. So I'm inviting you to join me. Come to Angola. Come to Angola, experience Angola, get to know Angola, the culture, the people, the climate, everything that's there. Angola is part of the kingdom, greater kingdom of Congo. Yes, we have Ingeta. Beautiful people. It's always a pleasure. I hope you learned something. Yes, and we will continue to bring revelations, to decode the Bible, and to show you the hidden messages and the secrets which are there of our ancestors, which provide biblical proof. And you have seen archaeological proof, as we have decoded the seal of Hezekiah, which has Bantu symbols. The writing on it is Bantu. Hezekiah was a African king, a Bantu king, etc. He was not Israeli. Those people never existed. Okay? Israeli people are a made-up people. They never existed. The state of Israel is a political state. It's not historical. We have no hate for them, of course. The Most High is the judge. And when he judges, no one can stand and say, oh, I do not agree. When he judged, he judged. And judgment will come. Judgment came for us. We will judge. The nations will be judged. That's the way it is. And no one can escape the judgment of the Most High. We will not be able to escape it. The Kadian Pemba will also not be able to escape the judgment the judgment of Yakongo. Ingeta, so let me know what you think of the presentation. Did you enjoy it? Do you have questions? Let me know. Okay. Now let me go through your messages in the chat because I wasn't able to read it. Okay, let's see if there are some interesting message over here in the chat. Okay. Yes. That's right. That's right. That's right. It's correct. Which language is this? Quite similar with Kikuyu. Yes, it's Bantu language, brother or sister. Yes, it's they're quite similar. They're just different dialects. Okay, they are not really questions in the chat. Okay. Bena Congo, Bena Zulu. Blessings to you. I'm Nabi Kefa. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video, and go to my Patreon. Also become a member and supporter over there. And if you love the knowledge, teaching, revelations that we bring on this channel, consider to support the teacher, right, who's doing the work. Ingeta. Until we meet again, I'm Nabi Kefa, and may Congo reign. Ingeta.